All right, today we're diving deep into something truly special, the hidden power of the Quran's longest chapter, Surah Al-Baqarah. Now, I know many of you probably have your own powerful stories with this chapter, but if you don't, well, I have a feeling you're going to want to start one after this. So let me start with this incredible story. A woman told us that she started reciting Surah Al-Baqarah every single day. Sometime later, she went to a spiritual reader, someone who claims to see into the unseen. But when he tried to look into her, he found nothing. It's like he hit a wall. All the information he had was years old, from before she started her daily recitation. It was literally as if she had become invisible to that entire world. And that's not a one-off thing. We hear stories all the time. People in Quran circles who have these intense, overwhelming spiritual reactions the moment the verses on magic are recited. So experiences like these, they just force you to ask, what is going on here? What is the secret behind this chapter's incredible, almost supernatural power? Well, here's the first clue, and it's probably not what you think. While so many of us turn to it for protection, and it absolutely works for that, its main function, its core design, is actually something way more profound. It's designed to bring things back to life. I mean, seriously, think about it. If you've hit rock bottom, if a project you've poured your soul into is dead in the water, if your health has completely failed, this surah is the ultimate revitalizer. The theme of resurrection, of being brought back to life, appears 5 separate times in its verses. We're talking about a murdered man brought back just to identify his killer, thousands who fled death only to be revived. Its core message is total, absolute renewal. But the theme of revival, that's just scratching the surface. Because when we start to look at the numbers, the actual data inside the chapter, this hidden code starts to emerge, a kind of divine frequency that points to its true power. For example, when you think of Surah Al-Baqarah, who comes to mind? For most people, it's Prophet Moses and the story of the children of Israel, right? But if you actually just count the names, it's Prophet Abraham who is mentioned more often. That right there tells you the scope of this chapter is way broader than we usually assume. Okay, but this is where it gets really mind-blowing. Let's look at this number right here, 289. That's how many times the name of God, Allah, appears in Surah Al-Baqarah, 289 times. Now, hold that number in your head and compare it to this one, 286. That's the total number of verses in the entire chapter. Did you catch that? The name of God is mentioned more often than there are verses. It's like every single verse is supercharged with his name, creating this unparalleled spiritual energy field, a frequency so high that no negativity, no dark force can possibly get through. It's just mathematically impossible. So what's the crucial takeaway here? Look at this. After the name of God, the most repeated concept is knowledge, showing up 100 times. And magic, the very thing people use this surah to fight against, it appears only once. The power doesn't come from focusing on the darkness. It comes from completely overwhelming it with divine presence and divine knowledge. And all of this, it leads us to a final, absolutely stunning revelation, a discovery that suggests the power of this surah doesn't just come from the words themselves, but from the invisible architecture it's built on. Think about your phone or your computer for a second. All of its power comes from a tiny little processor chip, right? A CPU that handles unbelievable amounts of data. Well, the Quran, and this is unique among all revealed texts, seems to be built on a similar idea, spiritual processors. These are represented by letters, and they carry this incredibly condensed, powerful light. And the secret to Surah Al-Baqarah's immense energy is that it's the foundational chapter built on what might be the most powerful processor in the entire Quran, Alif, Lam, Mim. All 286 of its verses are running on that single divine engine. And what's so cool about this is that it shows you how to scale the power. Reading Surah Al-Baqarah by itself is like using the base model. It's incredibly powerful. But if you add Surah Al-Imran, which is also built on Alif Lam Mim, you basically upgrade to the pro level. And you can even go to max and ultra levels by bringing in all the chapters built on this same core architecture. It's a system. Just how important is this single processor? Well, the Alif Lam Mim architecture and its variations account for almost 1,000 verses of the Quran. It is, without a doubt, the primary spiritual engine of the entire book. And get this, Alif Lam Mim is just one of 15 of these architectures. When you add them all up, Over 3/4 of the Quran is built on these divine systems. This is something totally unique to the final revelation, and it's designed to deliver concentrated spiritual light and data for all time. So you see, that immense power people feel from Surah Al-Baqarah, that feeling of protection, of being brought back to life, of clarity, it's real. But it's also just the entry point. It's your first interaction with the most powerful divine processor in a vast, interconnected, and frankly, breathtaking system. Which, of course, leaves us with one final profound thought. If this is the kind of power that's unlocked from just one of these architectures, what other secrets, what other levels of energy and understanding are just waiting to be discovered by those of us who are willing to look beyond the words and contemplate the divine structure itself?